Tifa here with Fit Bully TV. Listen, we've got 3 things we want you to be mindful of, and we have realistically quite a few problems. Now, most people won't be honest about the problems that they're faced with day in and day out when it comes to doing dogs and realistically just life. But here's the facts. Your dogs, like children, are a reflection of who you are and in some cases who you're not. One of the things that most people enjoy when it comes to, old General over there yawning, when it comes to watching our dogs is... I'll tell you this. I was at Legacy Hall. We were taking the pups up there, Jamarcus and I, and the guy gets up, he's wiping his mouth, and Legacy Hall's here in Frisco, and he says, man, can I shake your hand, man? I said, yeah. And he said, oh, man, my wife's like, you don't even got dogs, and he watched this dude every day. He said, I love how much fun this guy looks like he's having. And you know one thing, if you've ever had an animal, they don't lie. Pets, they can't lie. They can't pretend well. They either mess with you or they don't. And you have to spend time, energy, and effort with them. So what we've been doing, because the dogs have gotten off track, they've gotten a little hard-headed, they become difficult. Ego's actually becoming reactive in a way that I don't want him to wake up. I was around this dog trainer one time, and he said, I don't want my German Shepherd to know it's a German Shepherd. And I was like, what do you mean? Once he realizes he's a German Shepherd, he becomes difficult to manage. And the path I'll have him on becomes, okay, now we got to go do this work, this, and that. Because he's responsive. German Shepherds will respond and not so much in kind. That being said, every person around me normally sees our dogs and thinks, man, I want my dogs to be like that. I'd love to see... I'd love to see my dogs a little bit more motivated. How'd you get the dog to do that? And it's so fun because I've now watched Jamarcus go through a process and watching Jamal and even at times Stan learn new things in communicating with dogs. And shout out to Iron Sharp K. He called me earlier this week. He said, hey, you ever dealt with a bulldog before? I said, yeah, man. Yeah, man. And I told him exactly kind of like what I would do, because behavior is one of the things that's always interests me. Be it a good dog and a bad dog. And believe me, sometimes you just got to put a bad dog down. But that being said, Jamal, we're going to walk him through a process, and it's fun because you get to see this confidence boost as he gets more sure about his dogs and what they're doing. And even me. Jamal's probably got some of the best energy I've seen in terms of follow through and just hope. You know, there's some people who just will not give up on a person. That dude's got some dogs that I'd have let go. And I don't mean even put down. I just gave him to somebody like, man, take this dog. This dog is not what I was looking for. He's an active guy. His activity has increased tenfold. We go to the gym and do 2 to 3 miles almost every day. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to get back to the dog thing. Jamarcus and I got Jamarcus a membership, and then we got Cowboys Fit down here. We go to Cowboys. They say, hey, where you guys headed today? We say, we're going to Cowboys. And him and his old lady cat, they go. And so the next day they say, hey, what time you guys going today? And I was like, 1 o'clock. I was like, okay, we're going to go up there with you. I'm like, what y'all do, get a week pass? And no, we got a membership. I'm like, oh, snap. The next day, hey, what time y'all going to the gym? The next day. Then you go, oh, okay, this is going to be a thing. Now, let me be very clear, people. I don't wish my workouts on anyone. I would never invite you to a workout. I wouldn't invite you to play with my dogs. And people say, hey, I'm in town. I'd love to see Ego and Tron and, you know, whoever else I got. Cha-Cha. I said, look, these ain't play dogs. These ain't the kind of dogs that's like, they not there, not him. So if you don't know how to play these, not Chihuahuas. I've seen the dogs take some folks out. And even Jamarcus, I'll let him tell the story if he hasn't already one day. I sent Ego to stay with him for a little bit one time, and he was scared to death. That's the truth. He said, man, I was so nervous with Ego, and he was still a puppy. We're talking about like a year-old Ego. He said, that dog is motivated. When you have dogs that don't have motors and then you turn a motor on, Ego's chilling in bed, he's relaxed. We go outside, I mean, something's going to come up missing, to say the least. And vice versa, he sleeps right next to me at arm's length. He lays on me a lot of times. He's super chill. He's now been in the room today alone for 5-6 hours. And I'm not even putting him back downstairs. When I send him to all my friends to be watched, I ain't even send him with no cage because he's not gonna tear nothing up, and he's a good dog. He's what I've worked for. And so when you're around us, there's quite a few things that you need to do to ensure your dogs turn out successful. For one, I want to have eventually, we'll have 10, I'll alone have 10 dogs. And in those 10 dogs, all of them will be able to coexist and play together. They will respect me, and we'll be walking you through what it's like to get respect from your dog like you want respect from your child. I tell people all the time, especially when dealing with the opposite sex, I said, when you think of love, men, it's all over the net. Respect who you're around like you respect your father. And it's unfortunate some people don't know what that's like. But my dad, he had the utmost respect. He had my attention. Every time he hit me in the mouth, I was at attention. And that's not an exaggeration. I get into these things where I go offside, but it brings me right back to the dogs. I asked him when I got older, I was about 22 years old. I said, hey man, let's have a conversation, because I was going to make a decision that day if I was ever going to speak to Clarence Cochran again. And we sat outside and I said, why did you do the things that you did? And let me tell you, that man's like Thanos. He's just honest. He was just so honest with me. And his fear was me ever going to prison. So he said the only thing he understood or knew was violence. And black kids, first taste of violence is the first time your parents punish you. They whip you. And you go, white kids, they don't really get the whipping like that. But the black kids, your first taste of punishment is when you get your first whooping. And then the minute somebody makes you mad, you think you got to give them a whooping. And these whoopings just keep going on and on and on. And as I became more civil and more peaceful within myself, I realized very quickly that violence wasn't the answer. Not to anything. And I've had violent moments with dogs, violent moments with people, violent moments that should have never existed, if I'm being honest. But what do you do when you're not taught better? So when people see the dogs and the love and the affection and the care, I assure you, they taught me more about me than I could probably ever teach them. And it's part of my job, or my goal, to say the least, is to walk you guys through that journey and enjoy everyone's process. So when you're watching Jamal, you're watching Jamarcus, I've watched everyone grow. And even looking at Jamal, technically after year one, you're saying, wow, this guy, he's motivated to be better. Even when I came back yesterday, I had to he says, you about to be moving around? He said, all right, let me know. and I'm not used to people going places with me. I like to wander around by myself. But he, and even I tell Jamarcus all the time, I say, you know how hard it is for me to have you guys around me all the time? This is just weird. This is weird. I'm not a friendly person. Even when I went to every place I normally travel, I like to go by myself. I remember going up Runyon Canyon in Cali. I just want to be by myself. I want to look at it by myself, my own eyes. I don't want nobody around me when I'm doing things. And it is difficult for someone like myself who's lived in solidarity and isolated myself to have these people around who I know need to grow. And what is growth? It's experiences. So when you're watching Jamal go out, and I'm telling you, even watching Dolce for those few moments get on that thing, you go, wow, I had to put her up. And then Lola, she gave up. I had to put her up. and he just kept going. He just keeps going and keeps going. And I tell you one thing, it's inspiring for me, if I'm being honest, to watch them be so motivated by their animals, which just goes back to a dog, a pet, something that, will love you unconditionally. It is a great experience and a great journey for most to walk down. So I would never tell you to go get a dog, especially if you don't have time. I would never tell you that our dogs are special, because they're not. We make them look special because of the time, effort, and energy. I appreciate everyone who comes to our defense when people try to crucify me. Now, I don't see it all the time, Jamarcus, will tell me, something you guys have watched. As I said, I don't have anything to hide, and I don't like lying. And we've got a long road ahead of us, to say the least, but we're going to be tightening up the dog schedule. We're going to get them in a lot of great positions. The general is coming right along, so I want to continue to motivate him and be motivated by him. If the time hits right, he'll have his first play date. And a play date for a Jack Russell Terrier is them actually going up and tearing stuff up. That's you like, you want to see what they play dates is like? I'm like, I don't even know if I can record this. Now, clearly we can, because you saw what we did at Hog. And as the song said, it wasn't me. And Miguel was turned up. But hogs do a lot of unfortunate damage to places and people and things. So, at anywho, get you a team that is interested foundationally, as I said before, in taking care of the dogs and growing. Get a dog and learn from the dog before you think about how much money you can get from the dog. Every dog requires a different level of patience. And even with the raw old clips we have of Tron, Tron was a dog that wanted nothing to do with nothing. And I said, I'm going to take him for a week. and come back, he gonna be a different dog. I told you in that video 2 years ago now almost exactly what was gonna happen. So one of the goals is to get him to engage the way that they're engaged, and when I point, he should be able to shoot. And I already know he's got to submit him because he'll play, but he needs personal development. Just like kids. Sometimes you get a kid who doesn't like being around a lot of people. You have to cultivate an active mind, if you would, and build an imagination, teaching people skills, encourage him, make sure that he knows it's okay to have fun, have the confidence to even compete at that level with these dogs. And that's a whole process in itself. This dog thing is not easy, people. It's not easy. And the more and more I spend time building my dogs, you go, man, I don't even know if I want certain people to have my dogs because they require work. But all dogs do. And it did. And now you can't get Tron to not be interested. I think him and Ego yesterday in 105-degree weather was on that rope for almost 45 minutes. They got pretty motivated. And eventually both was like this. All right, buddy, we're done here. So thank you guys for watching for sure. Stay tuned. Remember, create prey drive using a flirt pole. Once the dog gets motivated by the drive in terms of flirt pole, go hand-to-hand combat, aka you can start with the burlap sack, early age. Later stages, I like to start with the flirt pole and then work my way up. Never give the dog anything. Make sure it's always working or moving towards you. I will break down in a future video exactly the steps and stages to ensure your dog is motivated by something. And ours, they're motivated to bite, chase a ball, and we're going to get them into Frisbee too. So stay tuned. Take care of your dogs, people. Thanks for watching.